Good morning, everybody. Buenos dias, howdy, greetings, salutations, and happy Tuesday. It's Robert Phoenix, and I'm back here for another edition of the Astro Weather. As you can tell, I'm taking in the grand sunrise over the Rockies. I've got my kind of Rockies plaid on here, and I just had my cup of coffee by the fire that was still burning from last night, and we've been busy taking in the owls who are slowly going back to their nighttime habitat as the sun rises. Of course not. I'm here in my living room in Texas, but it sounds like a nice little journey here, and maybe on the Lionsgate, if that is your intention to have that kind of experience, you might be able to roar it into existence. So I hope everybody's having a what a good is such a tepid word. I hope you're having an alive morning if you are experiencing this during the morning. And if not, in some other part of the day, then I hope your day has been pleasant. And perhaps with the Astro Weather, we might help you look forward to something during the evening. So why don't we get into it and let's see where we are in chat. Good morning to everybody in chat, or again, I would use the word salutations. Salutations. You remember when Robin Williams was Mork from Mork and Mindy, and he would say salutations to people. Salutations, Earthling. All right, let's do a little screen share here, and we're going to get into the weather. So, of course, today is the so-called Lionsgate 8/8, and so I decided to throw Sirius up here, and there's a triad of stars that Sirius usually rises with. And Heliacal Sirius here um, is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's in late June, early July. So what Heliacal Sirius means is that it rises before the sun, right? So you get to see it in the morning sky. But these other two stars are also in the rising procession, Betelgeuse and Procyon, and so they generally make this trinity. Um, Even though Procyon is also in the sign of Cancer. Now, if we were to do a sidereal chart, it would put the sun really at 0 Leo, and I guess one could make a case that at 0 Leo it would be also a rendition of the Lion's Gate, since 0 is like a portal and an opening. But I just wanted to give you a kind of hmm, I wanted to give you sort of a starry rendition of what it looks like today. And of course, this is all inside of the Placidus Western style chart. I was reading up on Sirius last night, and this whole idea of like where it comes from. And when back in the day, I don't know if you guys know this, but back in the day, there were two things that marked the new year. And I was not aware of this until last night. Depending on where you were, the new year was marked by the first day that the king of your territory land became king. That was the beginning of the new year for many people. And if a king took another king's place, then that would be the day of the new year, which I thought was really interesting. Very, very interesting. And then back in the day, if it wasn't the king who determined what the new year was, it was Sirius. And again, this was, a very long time ago. And this is with the 360 day year. Sirius would rise, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on the 221st day of the year, which would put it in essentially sidereal Virgo. Isn't that interesting? Um, so there were, and then there were kind of sub calendars marked by the lunation cycles. So one of these nights, I'll get into a whole show on calendar and time and astrology. But it was fascinating to see that at one point, the 221st day of the year was considered to be the new year because that was at that time, the heliacal rising of Sirius. And if we didn't add the leap day for every 4 years, the rising of Sirius would be in a very different place because of the precession of the equinoxes in time. So, just a little bit of interest here in terms of what Sirius does, where it rises. It rises from the southeast, by the way, and it moves slightly further north um, over time, but not too much further north, and then it cuts west. And I remember the first time I got a real eyeful of Sirius was in Florida, and it was, I believe, in either May or June, and I was in Sanibel, and I got up early, and there it was, man. It was like this really beautiful jewel in the sky. So if you're in the southeastern part of the United States, you still can probably see it before the sun rises. Heliacal Sirius. So we have the Lion's Gate. We talked a little bit about it on Sunday night, and honestly, I've never been a huge like, well, this is the Lion's Gate, and you've got to set your intention, and it's never been a huge topic of conversation. But we did look at it on Sunday night. So if you did want to set your intention, there's a whole set of instructions that we kind of encoded, I guess, on Sunday night show. So let's look at what we have astrologically. I mean, so there's our Trinity, Betelgeuse at 29 Gemini Placidus, and then this is your Trinity in the morning sky. Uh, so the moon today is in Taurus, and we have Jupiter in Taurus. So we have a nice little conjunction there, and there's some squares going on, I would say, with the Sun and retrograde Venus. So today is the pleasure principle. I would not be surprised if there are some of you out there who are doing your absolute best to count your calories or stay on your keto or honor the carnivore, the god of meat. And I would not be surprised if this is one of those days where you say, you know what, I want to have a beer. Right? This is a bit of a temptation day. And I don't necessarily think it's bad. I'm not going to demonize temptation. There's an upside to discipline and awareness and conscious eating and things like that, right? But then the downside is that you become way too rigid and it just becomes kind of the mechanical operation, like filling the gas tank up in your car. So we're humans and we need variety and we need some pleasure and we need some fun every now and then, or else there's nothing separating us from quote unquote AI, right? So today is one of those days where if you manage to kind of get off your diet or it's okay. I'm telling you, it's okay. You have my permission, not that you needed it, but it's okay. And I'll tell you why, because, and I was thinking about this. This is so funny how life works, right? I think about things and then you think about things and then I say something or it's in the chart and I say something. And I thought to myself, it's not a sin if you exercise, right? It is not a sin if you work it off. And as long as you can maintain some balance, and with the South Node in Libra, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for some balance here. We're looking for some balance so that we can flex our will. So I'm going to do this. You're not going to tell me what to eat. You're not going to tell me what to drink. I'm going to do this. This is my idea, my decision. The South Node in Libra is in moderation. Don't forget, in moderation. So today is one of those days. So I will suggest now, if you're watching this and it's already in the afternoon, the evening, you're screwed, No, I'm just kidding. But these energies, I think, if you are in a part of the world where you are in an evening time slot, there's a lot going on here with Mercury and Mars and the trine with Moon and Jupiter. And you may wind up staying up later tonight than other nights if again, if that's where you are. And you might work. Hey, look, the best part of this is if you were staying up late with somebody else because with Mars and the Moon and Jupiter, and you got Mars trying Uranus, that can be really pleasurable, right? And we all know that Virgo wants to please, so nobody's getting the short shrift between the sheets tonight. If you're in the daytime, see how I'm incorporating this, right? I'm trying to make sure this is a global podcast that everybody gets something out of it. But if you're in a morning zone or a pre-morning zone, there's a lot of activity here. So I would say indulge in the morning. That's what I would say. I would say indulge earlier in the day if you're going to indulge, right? It's like, oh man, I know I shouldn't, but that bagel and cream cheese, it's got my name on it, right? Do it early, but here comes the Virgo part. Go exercise. Go exercise. Burn it off. Burn it off. If you have to indulge, burn it off. I'm not telling you to indulge, but I'm just telling you that today is one of those days. Today's an indulgence day. And there is a lazy component to today. So again, I would say, and this has been a bit of a mantra, of course, with Mars and Virgo, get your work done early. Get your work done early so that you can't take advantage of the lays. That's what I would say. Just bang it out. Punch the clock at 1. Punch the clock at 2. Bang it out. Punch the clock at 1 or 2. Right? Maybe you want to hit the gym, and then you just want to do nothing. Go sit by the pool. Go sit by the ocean. If you have that luxury or whatever it is that allows you to relax and take some of the constant stress off of you and your system, right? This is really the roadmap for today. Burn and then relax and be a little lazy, or indulge and then burn and then relax. It's that simple, right? It is that simple. And you've got Mercury in Virgo and it's conjuncting Pallas. So this is and now here, I'll give you another little wrinkle for this. If you are somebody who is struggling with your health, today's one of those days where you're going to have a breakthrough. You're going to have a breakthrough and you're going to have an insight. And it will probably be due to the elimination of something from your diet. And this could be a real interesting day for people who are having some health issues. And this might be the day that you've been waiting for. So hang in there and pay attention to the patterns of your body. Digestion, right? Virgo rules digestion. And we have an in conjunct with Mars here and Chiron. And it just started yesterday. And it's going to be in place until the 22nd degree of Mars, right? So we got 3 degrees on the other side of Chiron. So it's a pretty wide orb, really, right? From 16 to 23. Because Mars doesn't move as fast as the sun or Mercury. So that's kind of an interesting inconjunct. And I think that for people who feel powerless, like there's all these things going on in your life or the world and you can't do anything about it, that inconjunct could be challenging. And again, I would say that brings it back to digestion, diet, available proteins, fuel, all that stuff. Um, so I'll give you another wrinkle. Here's another wrinkle. I think it's really hard to like do a fast with the moon conjunct Jupiter in Taurus. Sorry, I just think today is not the day. That said, uh, but the moon is going to move into Gemini, and that's a really interesting. If you wanted to do a fast and try to cleanse and sort of burn out some carbon in the pipes, as they say in the car world, when the moon goes into Gemini, I would take a look at that because you'll still have this Mars in conjunct with Chiron, and I feel like that would be a really good day to and I would, whatever your level of fasting would be. Maybe it's just an intermittent 24-hour fast, or maybe it's a 48-hour fast. But it's one of those fasts that I think could really help you with things like your blood pressure. Maybe I should listen to that. I should listen to myself. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a 48-hour fast. I'll try for 24. I'll try for a 24. I'll be. You know what? Heal or heal thyself. That could be really good for blood pressure, really good for digestion, and just giving your body a bit of a chance to rest. But you don't want to overdo it, though. You don't want it because that's the nature of Virgo. Well, let me do this and let me do this, and and I'll drink this, and this will blow out my colon and my lower intestine. And don't do that. Don't do that. Do not be the John Rambo of fasting. Okay, just take it easy. But I think there would be some benefit. So I think I might do that. I'm going to do that. I am making my commitment to do a 24-hour fast. Of course, starting tomorrow, because I can't get out of this. Right? Can't get out of this. Last night we went and had Mexican food. It was so good. It was. There's a scene in Mad Men when Don Draper goes to California, and he's in this weird kind of David Lynch like setting in this house, and it's dark and creepy, and there's this young thing. Of course, Don Draper had plenty of young things draped around him, and she said, "It's Mexican food. It's delicious. You'll love it." Right, and you can tell like this is a whole new world that's opening up to his character. Literally, I mean, it's kind of a dark passage of the whole New York to L.A. transmigration of Don Draper's soul is really interesting. But yeah, so we had Mexican food last time. So good. We have the best enchiladas here in Texas. I'm just saying. We get that red ranchero sauce that is part of the Tex-Mex world, and just the best, absolute best. Anyway, Saturn over there in Pisces, and yeah, we're moving away from the opposition. We got separation here with Mercury and Pallas. It's not a huge opposition because Saturn's going backwards and Mercury's moving forwards, and eventually they'll run into each other again. But that is passing, right? That is a passing, fading, separating aspect. Let's see. Chiron is also in trine with all of our Leo planets over here, and this is one of those days. This is one of those days where you might have to step up too. You might have to step up. You might have to step up and maybe stand up. Step up and stand up for somebody or something that you think is perhaps not being treated as well as they should be. It's the Lions Gate. What did lions do? They protect their cubs and they roar. So don't be shy. Um, the sun is going to get closer and closer to that true node in Aries. And while I think that's good on a personal level, I think on a more global perspective, it might be a bit more challenging. I'm not sure how deep I want to get into the political scene, but I don't not right now because it would take me a while to unpack it. But I'll tell you what I did want to play, and I don't normally do this on the show, but I'm going to play you something. But this is StreamYard. I got to figure out. I still haven't figured out how to get videos to play on StreamYard and get the sound. So I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip that. Let's see. What else? So by tomorrow, we're going to have that moon Pluto trine, which is quite good, especially I think if you want to fast, you get that moon Pluto trine going on, and you can, kind of steal your emotions, have it fixed, and go, okay, this is my intention. The moon's going into Gemini. I'm going to live off of uh, aether and the mana from the sky, and I'll be good for 24 hours. So here you go. There's your Lionsgate Trinity, Procyon, Sirius, Betelgeuse, and in sidereal, right? The sun is right at the beginning of Leo, which in some ways does represent the Lion's Gate. But in Western astrology, Placidus, all of these planets, I'm sorry, all these luminaries are sitting on top of the sun, right? They're right there. They're the starry crown of the king of the sky, Leo. There you go. All right, let's get into our star of the day. I'm really excited about our star of the day. You know why? Because the star of the day's chart really conforms to the star of the day. This is what I try to do. Like, Roger Federer is a much more famous person contemporarily than our star of the day. But our star of the day has a life that we can chart through the chart, which is always what I'm looking for. Because I like to use this as a bit of a teaching example or tool. Today's star of the day is Esther Williams. So for you kids out there, Esther Williams was the bathing suit beauty, and she starred in all of these movies where she was swimming. And the reason why she was swimming was because she had a great figure, and she looked great in the bathing suit. Bathing suit sales went through the roof, thanks to Esther Williams. So she's a Libra rising. Of course she is. Look how beautiful she is, right? Esther Williams was a bathing beauty. She's a mermaid. And then she has the true node and the moon in the first house. So she's like got this Libran. Um, she's literally like Venus rising out of her shell from the ocean. Now, I don't know if she did that in one of her movies, but if I was a director of Esther Williams and her movies, I would have done that, right? And so this is real. I mean, again, even though the moon is in Libra, it is lunar. It relates to the moon and oceans and tides. And she has Cancer on the midheaven. Imagine that. Then she has Pluto and Venus conjunct. So Venus really is the ruler of her chart. And what's interesting about Esther Williams is that she marries this guy named Fernando Lamas, who is he's a very good looking guy, right? But he's an absolute fucking tyrant in her life and really ruins her life in a lot of ways. And doesn't want her to do her thing. I mean, he's just, Fernando Lamas was negative. And then this is where Esther Williams had a really hard time, was in marriage and relationship. And that Chiron South Node conjunction and squaring Venus Pluto. And she had a uber controlling husband. But eventually she figures things out. Let me do this. I don't normally do this, but I want to just go to her Wikipedia page because it's very interesting. And you can see, I'm just going to read a couple things from her Wikipedia page. Because, it's hold on, where is it? It's over here. That's right. Let me go here. Give me one sec. It's actually on astro.com. They incorporate a little Wikipedia in the astro.com indices. Here, let me read this. Let's do this. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here. American actress and swimmer who is a professional swimming champ. Became an aquatic leading lady in many extravaganzas in the 50s and the 60s. A total of 26 movies, mostly when wet. Williams's films included Easy to Love, 1953, and Jupiter's Darling. Look at that. Like, what a title, huh? Jupiter's Darling. And where is Jupiter in a chart? Jupiter happens to be right here in the 12th house. The 12th house ruler is Pisces. She's a Jupiter Saturn conjunction, which, as you will see later, will pan out. For 1953 movie, $1 Million Mermaid, she won a Golden Globe Award as well as a broken neck. Wow. So where do we see the neck? We see the neck in Aries and that Chiron, right? Chiron in the South Node. During filming, she was required to wear an aluminum tiara, a crown. Leo, it was too heavy. Look, she's got a Sun Neptune conjunction. She's, even though it's in Leo, she's got water all over the place. The crown was too heavy, causing 3 of her vertebrae to snap upon impact when she hit the water. She spent 6 months in a body cast. There's your 12th house. Esther was the 5th child of Beulah and Lewis Williams. By age 8, discovered her natural affinity for the water. She's a mermaid. And by 18, won 3 national championships and was on her way to the Olympics. Her hopes were dashed by the rise of Adolf Hitler and the cancellation of the games in 1940 and 1944. Chiron, Aries, 7th house. Instead, she took a job instead with the Billy Rose Aquacade attraction at the 1939 San Francisco World's Fair. For a day job, she was a sales girl, part-time model. In 1942, Louis B. Mayer started her in showbiz with her first small parts. 2 years later, America's Mermaid, she's a total mermaid, began the first series of her aquatic musicals. All right, let's move ahead. So here we go. This is the Chiron in the South Node, in her 7th house, squaring Venus Pluto. Williams made 4 stormy marriages. The first in 1942, a student, Leonard Kovner, who objected to his wife having a movie career. She and her second husband, businessman Ben Gage, had 3 kids, and they're 14 years together, which Gage pretty well went through all the money she made with his bad investments, drinking and gambling. There you go. Leaving her with $750,000 in debt to the IRS. Wow. In 1961, she left the movies to marry her third husband, Fernando Lamas, a vain and possessive Latin. Not a man, a vain and possessive Latin. That's a hot-blooded, vain and possessive man. Fernando Lamas was a good-looking dude who would not allow her 3 kids in the house. The marriage lasted 21 years. That is basically 3/4 of a Saturn cycle. Until she was widowed in 1982. Dude had to die. Williams set about to mend the damaged relationship with her kids and regain control of her life. She filled the void by producing 2 films and a video on teaching infants to swim. Is that interesting? Moon conjunct the true node in Libra, 1st house. Her 4th marriage was to actor Ed Dobbs in 1984. They worked together in the design and manufacture of a line of swimwear. Happy with Ed, she credited her science of mind for her positive approach to life. She continued to swim every day. On 7 February 1999, she was admitted into a hospital with lung congestion and irregular heartbeat and high blood pressure. In late 1988, she had broken 4 ribs and punctured a lung in a fall down the stairs. She left the hospital 8 days later, ready to eat away from hospital food and ready to promote her autobiography, The $1 Million Mermaid. She died in her sleep in 2013. She was 91. So she was also in love. She had the Venus thing going on. She was in a relationship with Jeff Chandler and Victor Mature, and those are her kids. And then, of course, the parent-child relationship with Lorenzo Lamas. You know that guy, right? Esther Williams, if I'm not mistaken, is his mother. Let's see. Let me just make sure here. Stepson. There we go. So that was her stepson. Remember that guy? What is he? I think he's an Aquarian. Yeah, he's an Aquarian. Lorenzo Lamas. Fernando Lamas was his father. All right. There you go. Your star of the day, Esther Williams. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's see. Please join me over on 15 Minutes of Flame. That's going to happen at 9:11 a.m. And of course, True Hemp Science, your one-stop shop for all your CBD needs. All you got to do is go to truehempscience.com. It's so easy. The link is in the description of the show. And then you buy $100 worth of product and type in 15MINS, 15MINS, and guess what you're gonna get free product coming at you. $150 more, get you free shipping, and always a 30-day money-back guarantee. And I got to show you guys. So I'm going to do something today. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. As soon as I figure out, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll give you a little bit of a sneak preview on this show. But let me just show you this right here. We are getting things set up. We are getting things set up over on Sirius Sports. And we will premiere our new show starting on Monday of next week. There it is. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please sign up. This is going to be fun. And I'm going to have as my partner on this, Al Dog, coming over from the Old World Florida channel. He and Longo have just finished the 12-part series called Astro Chads, and I'm sure that's going to be really enlightening and fun. That's about to debut. So shout out to Longo and Al Dog. And then another person who I just have to give some credit here to is you can find her on Twitter, is Bree Evans. And Bree Evans is in charge of all the graphics and all the GFX stuff and the branding and the logos. And we're going to have merch and all kinds of really good shit over on this channel. So please subscribe. It's Sirius Sports. And I will leave the link in the chat over here if you guys want to do that. And there you go. Sirius Sports right there. Subscribe so we can get up to speed and have a good experience. Really looking forward to that. Oh, I want to get out of there. Let's leave. Stop sharing. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. Have yourself a great day. Use your head in order to discern what's real. Your heart to discern what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. And I'll let you know how my 24-hour fast goes. You'll be a part of it. Maybe I'll do a little clip or two throughout the day. That's it. Take care. And bye for now.